I'm covered in glitter.
Hey everybody, today we are talking about Halloween makeup and the do's and don'ts that I found out through experimentation, which is what I'm going to show you here, the good, bad, and the ugly. First, we're going to put on our Maybelline Color Tattoo in a gold color. It doesn't really matter what kind of gold color you want to put down as long as it's a pigment. And then with this liner, um, it was a liquid liner that it was pretty much a no-name brand thing from a grocery store, and it was completely terrible. I mean, it was thick and sticky, and it didn't dry very fast at all. So when I opened my eyes, as you'll see in a minute, it completely ruined what I was trying to do. You can see it's dragging and skipping right there, which is not really supposed to happen with liquid liner if it's of good quality. So what we had to do was um, try to do our best here, actually. We were trying to just do our best to see how it would turn out. But as soon as you open your eyes, it goes everywhere. So we ended up having to wipe it all off and start over again because when you have liquid liner, especially for Halloween purposes where you're using a lot of it, you really want to make sure it's thin and consistency, and also that it dries faster than what this tried to do. So now that we've wiped it all off and started over again, we're going back in with the Maybelline Color Tattoo in this gold color, which is I'm sorry, I said a pigment earlier. It's not a pigment. It's a pot. It's like a cream, which you'll see is being put on by a brush here. What you really want to do for more potency with the color is do it with your finger. But when someone else is doing the makeup like they are here, it's a little bit awkward to have fingers in your eyes. So we decided to do it with a brush. And you're just putting it all over the lid and making sure that the coverage is consistent and even. Here we are trying to do the liner again with a different liner. This is the, I believe it's a L'Oreal Slim liquid liner pen that I prefer, but actually I think this one is drying out. So it wasn't as great as we expected, but it worked a lot better than the previous liner. This one dried faster, it was thinner, the line was more precise, and it allowed us to do more. Even though with liquid liner and someone inexperienced like my mother, it's difficult to manipulate liquid liner. So what I recommend is drawing out what you want to do with a pencil first, because a pencil is a lot easier to remove if you make a mistake. And here, this is me looking into a mirror and trying to fix a jagged edge on a line because it wasn't as good as we thought it could have been. And as you can see back there, my dog was absolutely insistent on staying with us for this process. She's actually sleeping on my shoulder while I'm trying to do this, which was a little bit difficult sometimes when she would move around on me. So, okay, and then at this point, we decided to break out the Halloween makeup. We had some black face paint that we are putting over the liner to try to even it out because the face paint was even thinner and more watery. Um, it worked out. It did work out better to use the face paint on top of the liner. But still, the liner, it's, I really advise people to draw it on with a pencil first. And I did this on purpose because I wanted to show what can happen if you don't draw it on with a pencil first. So now we're putting on NYX pigment. It's a powdery substance in a jar. For those of you who don't know, it's just basically straight up pigment, very strong stuff. And you want to put it um, on a sticky surface like a cream shadow, which is why I put on the gold cream shadow before. And it adds a little bit of extra oomph. So now what we're doing is putting on um, grease paint from Party City. And I have to say that while grease paint does cover what it's supposed to, it's really difficult to work with. It's a completely different animal than the normal makeup I have. This particular grease paint had an overspray of glitter that made it look like it had a lot more glitter in it than it did. And this color showed up as black with glitter on top of it in the pot, and then we found out the hard way when we started putting it on that it was actually a red-brown color. Um, so we're just kind of going with the flow at this point and really not doing anything in particular, just trying to see how the different products work together. And I just decided that I don't like grease paint at all, and I probably won't use it again. It's just too difficult to work with. And also, it doesn't feel good on the skin. Even after we powder it down, it just it felt greasy, which is obviously why they call it grease paint. And here we're just drawing more shapes onto the face to try to make the mask bigger. Our goal with this Halloween makeup that we were doing was to try and make a masquerade mask, which is why I was going for dark colors and golds and rich tones. But because of the grease paint being a completely different color on my face than it was in the pot, I decided that I couldn't use this as a real makeup tutorial, so that's why I decided to change it over into a what to do and what not to do makeup tutorial. And so here I'm trying to choose what kind of embellishments I want to make with um, the Too Faced Le Grand Palais holiday palette that I got from a friend. And what my mom is doing right there is patting down the grease paint with translucent powder. Even with it patted down, it just didn't feel good. And what we're doing here is putting pink dots on the face from the Too Faced palette. Just experimenting to see what stuck and what didn't. It doesn't really go, I know, but pink shows up on any surface that I've done so far. And what we're doing now is taking a different color. It's like a pewter color, and drawing around the edges of the mask to try to lay down a shadow. I have to say that the Too Faced palette worked a lot better than the grease paint did, and if I was going to start over again and do this look all over again with a better plan, I would use just the Too Faced palette along with maybe NYX jumbo pencils as a base. So now what we're doing up here is extending the line over my brow because a masquerade mask does extend over the brow most of the time. Most masks do. And at this point, it did start to look more like a mask, but like I said, if I could do it again, I would stick to my regular makeup instead of going out to buy Halloween makeup. And there is how it looks in the end.